Doing good. I thought I was going to manage to avoid you until 2025, but it seems that fate has brought us together once again.
Yeah, of course. One last one last time
Yeah,
before this New Year. Yeah.
the 10th one that I've actually dead ass counted before I hopped into this call. So 10th time, and hopefully this will be as much of a banger as it is for all the other occasions. And so, all right, I'll just start like this. No kind of introduction. Um, JoshRT, thank you so much for making it happen. Another interview, a 10th interview for 2024, and it's kind of fitting, as a matter of fact, to kind of have one more before the end of the year. And so really do appreciate you taking the time doing this, coming off of a victory over FlyQuest slash Leviathan. And so usual question, kind of different environment, different tournament, different stakes, different feel. And so how you kind of taking in this final sprint before 2025?
We're just trying to have fun. Just recognizing that like this is an off-season tournament where these rosters are like the first time we play ever, and we just want to see like how it goes. And I think every team's treating it the same way. It's interesting to mix up both the scenes and just kind of showcase the talents. And that's the goal, right? And I think we've been accomplishing that, knowing that we did the EMA one, and now we're doing the NA one, and I think it's been super fun.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that, given that G2 also participated in the Spotlight Series in EMEA a few years ago. That time it was Valent, JAWGEMO, and then also, Mimi, Vanya, and also I can't think off the top of my head. You can kind of correct me on that.
Trent,
Trent,
yeah,
thank you so much. Now we
yeah,
have Jonah P, Trent again, and now also
we have
ah
Leaf.
Leaf.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just
yeah. We
it's
we're
all
switching it up. We're switching it
yeah,
up. Yeah.
switching it up. So, I mean, what kind of difference or kind of different approach has it been from like that to this occasion?
Well, the first time with the Berlin roster, I'll just call it the Berlin roster. We were there for a few weeks. It might have been like 3 total weeks there. 2 weeks in Berlin, and then the final week at Paris, where the final event was being held at. And we took it seriously. We wanted to practice. We wanted to get some of the map pulled down. But I was mindful that like G2 goes and had practice after for their championship, GC's championship. So like I try to keep it light, just to make sure like we're just familiar with each other. And we got into the grand final. And it was a fun event because it was in Paris. Never been to Paris. It was at like some game convention. And it seemed like a lot of people showed up, and it was an interesting kind of tournament. So
What
that's the difference this time. The girls just came over or flew over like 2 days before the event, no practice. We we built the comps like right at the ready room, and we thought like screw it, let's go. I think this will work. I just gave them a quick like macro overview, like how you want to play, some advice here and there, and like that's mainly what the attack pauses are. Like let's adjust it slightly, and I kind of just let the players play. It's been really fun watching that unfold, seeing some of the players play some off role. Trent's on Duelist a few maps. Nate's back on Duelist for the other maps. And I think Mimi normally plays Initiator, so she's on Smokes and she's IGLing.
Well, I know you've had a chance to work with me because I mean she's been here for both occasions in Berlin and also in LA, and so and for Amy it's the first time being in LA in that kind of environment, and also on top of that, Vanya, how do you kind of what's your perception of the GC squad, the Gozen squad, and how is it kind of compared to how you kind of do things with your VCT Americas squad in this year? How do you kind of compare both sides?
Like here at G2, we try to have some like cross team like communication. So we do share some ideas back and forth every once in a while, not like super often. So like when I first started coaching the what we call the chosen squad, which is the G2 Brosen and G2 Ghosten combined. I saw like some of like the same ideas kind of repeated. Like, oh, that's cool. They adopted that, and they had their own, and we took some ideas from the Ghosten squad, and so it was a nice like knowledge exchange kind of. as to like how we approach it. But largely the same. I would say the thing I was most impressed is that the talent is definitely there in the GC side. I think they can definitely shoot. Um, I think what is the biggest difference though is probably the speed of decision making, and that kind of comes with like a lot more time, like more playing time, more coaching of just like what you should do, and just thinking about that. So like that's where I see kind of like the difference between the levels there. But as you see, like in these tournaments, like you can make a team out of this, and you can probably compete pretty comfortably in at least like tier two. I think tier two might be like probably where it's at. And then given more time, you could probably make it to like a low tier one level. I think.
Yeah, at the very least, we might see the stepping stones of G2 chosen on the tier one level. So definitely looking out for that sometime in the future. I kind of now want to pivot towards your squad. From 2020, from the end of Champions up until now. Obviously, the when it comes to looking at G2, the first thing that comes to mind, and also JAWGEMO entering the squad. I mean, it's been kind of known that you guys were looking for Juggy a lot of times. You can kind of elaborate on that if you want. But how'd you guys even and bring that together? Juggy finally adding a player like him into the squad.
Yeah. So it's no secret behind the scenes that like we've been looking for Jogamo for a year. Actually, I've been thinking like the second that we had to make the roster change in the beginning of the year last year, when we swapped up their G2, I had kind of like my pick of like who to go after as a duelist. And I thought Jagamo's style was the best for what we needed. We just needed someone that's going to be aggressive, entry type duelist. Um, since there's like multiple like archetypes of players at that point, where it'd be like a slow moving duelist, where like think cryocells or yay, and so a lot of that you can see how they started to pivot towards more of these different agents where it kind of suits their play style. And I always view this game as like more of a play style focus as to where you should pick your agents. Jogamo like fits it perfectly. He's going to be diving in. He's going to create the space. He's not going to be afraid to take these opportunities and exploit the gaps of these our opponents. So yeah, that took it. It took a little bit. Last year, EG kind of like since he was the last person on the EG squad, the price and like everything just made it so it basically was impossible to get him. Um, once he was the last person on that squad. So yeah, like the plans were derailed. We pivoted and we got Nate, and then eventually Nate turned to Sentinel, and we made a bunch of decisions, trying to set up for this play, for this move, this eventual move. We thought like, okay, this is how we're gonna do it. We were just interested in like how, let's see, like I see how he would develop, and like there was a possibility that like we would have retained him. But like once this was back open, and he was putting us on top of his list as to like the teams he wanted to join, I'm like, all right, let's make it work. So me and Sail Wolf, our GM, just we've been trying to set this up for a while. So glad it's working out.
There was plenty of hype and conversations as to now looking at this G2 squad and it already being good in 2024, in having a player like Icy. You sub him out, put in Joggimo into the mix, then people are looking at them as at you guys as like the team to beat in VCT Americas, because like we got Leviathan parting ways with Aspas, him moving over to MIBR, bringing in Demon One, and then still G2 squad kind of still intact except for the duelist role. And so what I'm trying to get at is the hype around G2 2025. Is it real? Is it fair to say that it's real?
I mean, I guess so. Like the hype is what you guys perceive us, right, and how other teams perceive us. And I understand. And it's part of the reason why we built this team the way it is because like we want to be able to have like a system that's kind of like repeatable, right? Like we want to be able to sustain success, and hopefully at the end like maybe there's a dynasty out of it. Who knows, right? So that's why we made the moves that we had to make. Um but yeah, I always tell the guys like don't believe in the hype. Don't believe in your own hype, because at the end of the day, anybody could be anybody. If we're not working hard, that hype is nothing. Hype is potential, and we got to realize our potential. There's a lot of work to do that.
And definitely you guys have been on the road for the as the viewers already know. Talking to you 9 times before today, it's fair to say that I've covered this team well enough to know that this is a team that is on the road towards continuing the momentum into 2025, and so from that point on, definitely going to be looking forward to more of that. That said, we're low on time, so I'm gonna have to wrap it up here. Josh, thank you so much. I assume for the final time for 2024. Who knows? Maybe we'll talk again like a week after this. That remains to be seen. But yeah, thank you so much for the conversation. Thank you so much for giving me a chance to talk to you many times before that. And yeah, hopefully I can talk to you again in 2025.
Hopefully, we win something. It's,
I, I,
yeah,
I will remember like almost every time I request for you to talk to for an interview, you always win. So I mean, hopefully we keep that train rolling, right?
yeah, yeah. Hopefully, we meet again. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a
Definitely
fun
gonna
year.
be fun. Thank you so much. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care, man.